when you think of being an adult in the room, what do you actually think of?
Having responsibility for leadership, because when you're interacting with anybody, at times things could go left, and you just want to have that mentality that even if it goes left, somebody got to be the mature one to bring it back centered. So being the adult is just to the you obviously you can't control other people's actions, you can't control other people's decisions, what I'm saying, but you do the best of your ability to steer things in the proper direction.
Definitely. We've been sitting back and you've been joining our Let's Talk Relationship discussions live on Facebook and on Zoom and on our website coming soon. And we've been talking about building strong relationships, but today, this season 3 is all about being an adult in the room. So we wanted you to share some stories about maybe when you weren't an adult in the room, and then maybe until now that you all have matured into becoming an adult in
the room. Okay. Well, I didn't really have time to prepare for these questions, so I'm just trying to bring it off the fly, off the top of my head.
Well, that's what we want anyway, Drastic. We don't want a rehearsed, comment. So just say what comes to mind, and then we'll have a discussion around it.
First thought that comes to mind was when I was about 18 years old, working at the hospital, and I think I was hot-tempered at times during those days, and I was working, and I had my coat in the office. I was working in the hospital, and I used to report to an office to get my assignments. I worked in patient transport. I used to take patients from their room to X-ray or to different areas in the hospital. I would take them away from their room in a stretcher or on their hospital bed or in a wheelchair, so on and so forth. And it was getting close to the end of the shift. Everybody was going home, and I left my jacket in the office where the dispatcher was. And the dispatcher, didn't know where I was, so he locked up the door and get ready to go home. And he's in the car waiting for his wife to come to his car, because they both worked in the hospital. She worked somewhere else, and he was my supervisor. And I threatened the man. I'm like, yo, I should smack you off a GP for closing the door with my jacket still in there. And I was young and dumb during those days, so that's the first thought that came to my mind when you said think of an example where you wasn't the adult in the room. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even give him the benefit of the doubt of realizing that, he didn't know where I was, and he's not my keeper. So, the jacket's locked up. It's not, nobody's stealing it. So why am I getting so upset? But yeah, that was the first thought that came to mind when you asked me about a situation where I wasn't the adult in the room. And I guess a situation that I could think of where I was the adult in the room is, it's hard for me to talk about this without making someone else look bad, and that's definitely not what I'm here to do. But so I'm just talking generalities, what I'm saying, where maybe a person wants to engage in being argumentative with me, and I just don't engage. What I'm saying, because I know what their intentions are. Their intentions is to have a negative interaction, and I'm like, if it's not going in a positive direction, and I already know what your intentions are from the get-go, I'm not even going to engage with you. You can argue by yourself,
Definitely.
So when we think of adult, Drastic, when we think of adult in the room, we think about those situations, right? Like spazzing out, or not feeding into somebody's negative behavior, negative energy. But when I realized over time that being an adult in the room means also making a decision, being the person that is willing to step up and make decisions. And do you find that, what do you think about that? Do you find that to be something that would make you the adult in the room, where you're around a whole bunch of other people that don't really want to make a decision about things, and they leave it up to other people to make those decisions? Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're a person that wants to sit back and let other people make decisions. So I kind of want to get your take on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in situations like that, sometimes it's necessary to be confrontational. What I'm saying? So when I talk about not engaging a person that you know, that wants to be combative or argumentative. I'm talking about if their intentions are not good. But sometimes being the adults in the room, you know, requires you to be confrontational and requires you to, you know what I'm saying, have some disagreements and so on and so forth for the purpose of making a decision for something good to happen. So yeah, definitely being the adults in the room definitely requires making a decision sometimes when other people are, you know, not making that decision. Yeah.
Or what about
Definitely.
just making a decision in general? Like, you know, when you have relationships with other people, right? Like there's you guys just, well, a person, an adult by age
Yeah.
makes 1,000 decisions a day. Like every day, they like what to eat, what to wear, what to do, like everything. Like it's a decision, right? But we all come across people that really, aside from, I mean, some people don't even know how to figure out what to eat, but you know, they really have a hard time making those decisions. Like not just a confrontational decision, just a decision to say, I stand by this, or I believe this, or I want to eat, oh, this is so bad. Like I want to eat Burger King and Aziz wants to eat McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like I made a decision. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's like those are the when I also think about being the adult in the room, it's really standing behind what you believe in at that time or overall. Like, what is your take on that?
I don't know if I'm following you properly, but just based off of the example that